Big news out of our nation's capital tonight.
But first, we are following breaking news here locally. A Dayton police officer was stabbed this afternoon. We're told that officer is okay and is at Miami Valley Hospital being treated right now. Now, this happened on Bancroft Avenue in the 1500 block between Reese and Connor Street. That's where Mamie Baugh joins us live now. And Mamie, what have you learned tonight?
Well, police were responding to a mental health call inside this blue home, and we know that the assistant police chief says the suspect is a 29-year-old man. Officials say around 2:30 officers were called to the 1500 block of Bancroft for a wellness check. Dispatch says a woman called for help and commotion could be heard. The officer was stabbed inside the home. The assistant chief tells us a man has been taken into custody with no injuries. The officer is at Miami Valley Hospital and is expected to be okay.
This really stresses the importance or how difficult officers' jobs are dealing with situations, especially when someone's dealing with a mental health type issue. So we're fortunate that at this time the officer appears that he's going to be okay.
And a lot we don't know where the officer was stabbed or who they are at this time, but the police chief says that as soon as family is notified, more information will be released to the media. They tell me that at this time the investigation is very early on, but there will be charges filed. Reporting live in Dayton, Mamie Baugh, Dayton 24/7 Now News.
Mamie, thank you. A live look at the U.S. Capitol building now, where the Select House Committee investigating the January 6 riots held their final public hearing today, and they voted unanimously to subpoena former President Donald Trump to testify.
Those in favor will say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Those opposed is no. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it.
What we presented today clearly shows the president's culpability in what occurred on January 6th. So if he wants to clear the record, he will have an opportunity to do it.
Now, the panel also plans to seek documents directly from Trump. Thompson says the committee hopes Trump complies, but if not, they'll go with the evidence they've already collected. And they won't subpoena former Vice President Mike Pence. Political experts do not expect Trump to comply with the subpoena. They actually expect a prolonged court battle. The committee also played never-before-seen footage of congressional leaders inside the Capitol while rioters were on the grounds. You can see them pleading for help as they locked down inside the building. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi was specifically targeted as she tried to take charge and end the violence.
I'm going to call up the effing Secretary of DOD. We have some senators who are still in their hideaways. They need massive personnel now. Can you get the Maryland National Guard to come too?
Mr. Schiff. Now, today's hearing was the Select Committee's last one before November's midterm elections. Next, they'll issue their full report. And Trump himself has reacted on Truth Social, his social media website. He says, quote, "Why didn't the Unselect Committee ask me to testify months ago? Why did they wait until the very end, the final moments of their last hearing? Because the committee is a total bust and that only served to further divide our country, which, by the way, is doing very badly. A laughingstock all over the world."
The Supreme Court has rejected former President Trump's emergency request to intervene in the Mar-a-Lago documents fight. That denies a special master access to review classified documents. The move could have opened the door for Trump's legal team to review the records and argue that they should be off limits.
New York's Attorney General has asked a state court to block the Trump Organization from moving assets out of the state. Letitia James says the organization registered a new entity called Trump Organization 2 LLC. The same day, New York State announced its $250 million lawsuit against the company. That lawsuit claims former President Trump and his 3 adult children have been engaging in fraud for more than a decade. New York also wants a judge to impose an independent monitor to oversee the Trump Org's financial statements.
And an employee of former President Trump told the FBI that Trump directed boxes to be moved at Mar-a-Lago. That's according to a report from the Washington Post, which cites people familiar with the investigation. The Post reports that the orders to move the boxes came after Trump's legal team was subpoenaed for any classified documents at Mar-a-Lago. The FBI seized thousands of documents, included 100 marked as classified from a Mar-a-Lago room during its search warrant execution in August.
A Florida jury has recommended life in prison without parole for the Parkland High School shooter. Nicholas Cruz now avoids the death penalty. He shot and killed 14 students and 3 staff members at his former high school Marjorie Stoneman Douglas, back in 2018. Cruz pleaded guilty last year. His defense attorney argued he suffered from mental disorders and developmental delays his whole life. Family members of the victims, though, say the verdict is a gut punch and they're beyond disappointed.
17 beautiful lives were cut short by murder. Heinous, pre-planned, torturous murder. And the monster that killed them gets to live another day.
It's more important that we as a community respect the jury's verdict and recognize that the jury's verdict is final.
Now, survivors will read impact statements when Cruz returns to court November 1st. That's also when the judge will issue her formal ruling. Under Florida law, she cannot depart from the jury's recommendations of life in prison.
A little chilly evening here as Xenia is about to take on West Carrollton for Thursday Night Lights Week 9, and just another great evening of weather. It is a little chilly. You'll need a jacket. Bring the blankets to the game this evening. We're hanging out in the 50s right now. 57 in Dayton. We have 56 in Troy, 56 Sydney, 55 in Wapakoneta. So overall, it is a cool one, especially when we compare it to this time yesterday. In fact, most of us sitting significantly colder, 16 degrees colder in Dayton, 18 degrees colder in Springfield. And you probably realize we got a little bit of a breeze out here too to kind of make it feel just a little chilly, especially once that sun sets. Through the rest of the evening, we're tracking those 50s falling into the 40s, so make sure you have a jacket with you for the rest of the evening.
All right, thanks so much, Natalie. More money is coming to Social Security recipients. In the new year, there will be about $150 extra in each check and 8.7% cost of a living adjustment. It's the largest increase in 40 years and is meant to bolster monthly payments in line with high inflation. So we asked you on our Dayton 24/7 Now Twitter page, how do you feel about the increase so far? More than 53% of you say it will help. Nearly 31% of you say it won't. And more than 15% say more needs to be done. Some experts agree.
So there are some economists that are saying, hey, this isn't really going to make a difference because inflation has increased faster, so much faster than even this cost of living adjustment, that it won't have that much of an effect. But there are others that are saying, hey, at least we are giving them some relief from these increased prices.
And coming up at 6:30 over on Fox 45, when economists say these sky-high prices will let up, plus what this increase means for the lifespan of Social Security's funds.
Inflation is a major reason why Social Security is increasing. New numbers showing where Americans are getting hit the hardest as those consumer prices rise more than expected. Compared to a year ago, airline fares are up nearly 43%. Utility gas up 33%. Gas is up 18%. Furniture prices have risen 10%, and used cars are 7% more expensive. Eggs are up more than 30%. Price of chicken 17% more. Coffee up 16%. And milk and bread both 15% more expensive than last year. And you might have to pay more to see the doctor next year as well, as experts again saying inflation is to blame here. We're told employees should expect to shell out more for health insurance coverage, as well as out-of-pocket doctor visits. On top of that, hospitals, doctors, nurses, and service staff's costs for labor have increased sharply. Supplies too. And they're seeing more patients now who have put off checkups or tests during the pandemic, meaning patients are often sicker when they go in now. It was a big day on Wall Street. Megan is at the Now Desk. What kind of changes are we talking about?
Well, Adam, thankfully, this time it is for good news. Stocks surged today. The Dow gained 827 points, the S&P 92 points, and the tech-based NASDAQ 232. It was a back-and-forth day on Wall Street, but stocks did bounce back after major sell-off earlier in the day following a rougher-than-expected inflation report, as you just mentioned. However, investors might be expecting price spikes to fall soon, given today's report.
Big weekend for Cincinnati. Blink, a festival of light and art, is kicking off with more than 2,500 people taking part tonight alone. Then more than 100 installations will light up for the first time. More than 1 million people expected to come out this weekend. Courtney Wheaton spoke with the design team and from some local companies as they prepare for the big event.
P&G Design is leading the parade tonight, and if you look over here, they're getting their tykes ready. They're putting lights on and everything for the big parade. And if you look at these columns, they all tell a story.
We caught up with the creative team as they finished up last-minute touches for Blink. These figures will light up tonight. Each one is filled with iconic P&G brands telling their decades-long history in the community. The company also sponsors some of the installations and music at the banks and has a mural at Findlay Market.
The Bounty Project is called the Inclusive Artist Project, and so they're working, their first project they did was with Visionary Voices, and they helped literally design the prints on the Bounty paper towels. And this artist, Kingsley from London, is also helping design Bounty prints, and he is the one who designed the mural.
And if you're traveling from Dayton to Cincinnati, you want to check out those road closures before you get here. Back to you.
I'm Matt Digby. Coming up in a few minutes, here from Chris Mobley and Maurice Harden, the two head coaches involved in Thursday Night Lights tonight, as Xenia gets ready to host West Carrollton.
And a new firearm just introduced as evidence in a Butler County courtroom today related to a 2019 quadruple homicide. Up next, we hear from multiple forensic specialists about that alleged murder weapon.
You're watching Dayton 24/7 now.
Weather Window, presented by the National Weather Desk.
Fall is naturally known for foliage, but it's also a foggy season. A viewer chimed in with this photo from Cambria County, Pennsylvania at sunset earlier this week. Some fog was already forming over the lake. And speaking of foliage, here's pets and fall colors. Two of our meteorologist doggos are living the life outdoors.
Want to see your weather photos and videos on TV? Click Chime In on this station's website to share.
Week 9 of the high school football season, and Thursday Night Lights is in Greene County as Xenia is hosting West Carrollton. Matt Digby is live from Doug Adams Stadium. Matt, this is a Miami Valley League matchup, but these two teams, they're having opposite fortunes when it comes to how the season has gone.
Yes, Adam, a lot to play for both Xenia and West Carrollton, even though they come in with different records. Xenia, as you mentioned, Xenia, as we mentioned last week, 8-0. They're very well on their way to a first round, at least one, if not two, home playoff games. Meanwhile, West Carrollton still looking for that first win of the year. But I was able to speak last week with both head coaches, Chris Mobley and Maurice Harden, and they say that they're preparing strictly on tonight's game, focusing and not looking too far ahead of each other.
It's very important and encouraging for the future. You know, we're playing with a ton of underclassmen. I think we only had 3 returning starters from last year, so Got some 14-year-olds out there starting, and the good thing about that is a year from now they'll be veterans and experienced, as most of our roster will be next year.
I think West Carrollton's a very up-and-coming team, very young team, kind of similar to what we were last year, just trying to figure things out and set expectations. So we definitely are not going to take them lightly. We're going to play to our standard.
Now, we do have Thursday Night Lights coming up in less than an hour, but we also have college basketball news on Thursday. The Atlantic 10 Conference announcing its preseason men's basketball poll, and the Dayton Flyers are the preseason pick to win the league. Not unanimous, but they do receive 22 out of 29 possible first-place votes. Sophomore Jerron Holmes on the preseason all-conference first team, while Tumani Kamara and Malachi Smith are both on the second team. Holmes and Smith both on the all-defensive team as well. The Atlantic 10 will announce its women's basketball preseason poll and teams next week. But in the meantime, back here live at Doug Adams Stadium, again, Xenia very well in contention to be not just a first-round home game, but potentially a second-round home playoff game as well, while West Carrollton looking to find their first win of the season as they get ready to meet each other on Thursday Night Lights. Coach Jim Place and I will see you on My TV Dayton, also streaming live on Facebook and Dayton247now.com. In the meantime, we'll send it back to Adam and Megan in the studio in Xenia. I'm Matt Digby, Dayton 24/7 Now News.
Matt, thanks so much. The prosecution in the Gurpreet Singh trial presenting evidence linking a firearm to the quadruple homicide, but is yet to link that firearm to the defendant. If he's convicted, the 40-year-old could face the death penalty. David Winter brings us the latest.
In a parade of forensic specialists brought in by the prosecution, the jury heard detailed DNA and ballistics evidence brought by technicians at the Ohio Bureau of Criminal Investigations, or BCI. The prosecution is trying to link the alleged murder weapon found in a lake near the scene of the crime to the 4 victims, who were all shot in the head multiple times, and to Gurpreet Singh, accused of shooting to death his wife, her parents, and her aunt.
All the shell casings match the firearm submitted?
Correct.
The 2 bullets match the firearm submitted?
Correct.
And the bullets that you examined from the bags from the autopsy, they also match the firearm submitted?
The identifiable ones, yes.
There's nothing that says Gurpreet's Y DNA was there, correct?
You can't include or exclude from nothing.
BCI also tested the blood found on the clothing Gurpreet was wearing. It was his wife's, but the defense has stated their client held her bloody body after finding her shot to death. The testimony in this part of the trial can be long and it can be dry, but it can also be critical in proving the innocence or the guilt of the defendant. In Hamilton, this is David Winter. Back to you.
Well, getting a little chilly out here as Thursday Night Lights Xenia is about to take on West Carrollton. Now that the sun is behind a cloud, it really certainly feels a little chillier out here. But here's a look at satellite and radar, because we actually do have some clouds and even a couple of showers that have made their way in. Can't rule out a sprinkle or two, but for the most part, we should be pretty dry for the rest of this evening. As far as what we're expecting through the overnight hours, temperatures are eventually going to be falling. We are talking about 30s in the forecast overnight, so we start to see those clearing skies, which will help temperatures cool. Waking up to mid-30s, so some patchy frost can't be ruled out by early tomorrow morning. Keep that in mind. 60s by tomorrow afternoon, and then by Saturday, not quite as cool overnight. We're talking about another day in the 60s. Even colder air on the way. I'm going to time that out for you in a bit.
Natalie, thanks. Dayton Children's Hospital has received a $2 million donation from Caresource to support its new behavioral health building. The money honors the memory of Jada Grant. That's the daughter of Anthony Grant, the coach for UD men's basketball. The 20-year-old passed away in June after battling mental health issues for 2 years and was in treatment in the weeks and months prior to her death. Now, the new behavioral health building will nearly double the number of inpatient beds available for children in a behavioral health crisis. It'll also expand the development of specialized programs and will bring behavioral health inpatient, outpatient, and crisis services all under one roof. Well, Netflix, get ready, has got ads. It's coming. Megan is at the Now Desk. What do we know about these changes?
Yeah, Adam, it's called Basic with Ads, and it was just unveiled today. Netflix says the new tier will cost $6.99 a month. Starting November 3rd, it's going to be available in the U.S., Canada, Australia, Brazil, France, Italy, Germany, Japan, Korea, Mexico, Spain, and the U.K. The company says current plans and members are not going to be impacted. It's supposed to be similar to the current Basic plan, but is going to include an average of 4 to 5 minutes of commercials per hour. Those ads will be 15 or 30 seconds in length and will play before and during TV series and movies.
Well, there's plenty of fall fun to be had all around the Miami Valley. Tej Joshi, host of Good Day Dayton, shows us one local option for the whole family to enjoy.
Hidden Valley Orchards is a great place to have a fall family outing. They have so much to do here. They've got a great hayride where you can go through a pumpkin patch, then go to a waterfall, to a meadow, enjoy so much fun with the family. Believe me, the kids love this tractor. They also have great food here, lots of desserts. They've got ice cream, slushies, and lots of good fall things like apples and pumpkins. You can pick your own, get some desserts with them made inside. Lots of great things that you can enjoy. It's a great place to enjoy the outdoors this fall here at Hidden Valley Orchards. Back to you all in the studio.
A little chilly out here as Thursday Night Lights Week 9. It's pretty much been picture perfect weather for each game that we've had. Rain-free for the most part. We have seen a little bit of some sprinkle activity, but next week, as far as right now, is looking pretty good for us. Wanted to take a look at our temperatures though, because we do have some milder days, 60s in the forecast over these next couple of days. In fact, by Sunday, we're talking about upper 60s, 68 for our high temperature on Sunday, and then we get a cold front to move through, and we're talking about some of the coldest air of the season sliding its way in. Highs only in the upper 40s on Tuesday. Certainly going to feel a chill. Going to have a look at that 7-day with the details coming up in a bit.
Natalie, thanks. Halloween is inching closer, and if your kids have a sweet tooth, we've got a great way to satisfy their cravings. Still ahead, what's happening at the Halloween Hop and Howl this weekend? You're watching Dayton 24/7 now.
The Dayton 24/7 Now News app, brought to you by the Jeff Schmidt Auto Group.
Well, there's a chill in the Dayton air, and Centerville is getting ready for Halloween. Elise Coulter shows us where you can take the kids this weekend to show off their best costumes.
You might recognize this big green chair here behind me. I am at the Forest Field Park in Centerville. We're getting ready for a really fun event for kids of all ages. It is the Halloween Hop and Howl happening, kicking off, I guess I should say, at 10 a.m. on Saturday until noon. Kids of all ages can come on out. There's going to be walking along the path here at Forest Field Park, and there are going to be different signs and things to get the kids moving and grooving and having some fun for Halloween, of course. It is a teal pumpkin event, which means they will have allergy-friendly candy for the kids to get. So make sure you bring their trick-or-treat bags because there will be goodies for them. But also there's going to be some food trucks out here as well. And I did hear some popsicles, perhaps, maybe. But come on out to Forest Field Park in Centerville. It's going to be a great time kicking things off for the Halloween season.
Chilly conditions out here at Xenia to take on West Carrollton. Week 9 of Thursday Night Lights. Going to see milder weather over these next couple of days, but tomorrow evening's Friday night football game, still a little chill in the air. Notice by next week, though, we are talking about big chill returning to the area. Highs in the 50s by Monday, only in the 40s as we head into our Tuesday time frame. And then our low temperatures, they're going to be dropping down, likely below freezing for both our Tuesday as well as our Wednesday morning. So we're talking about a pretty big chill making its way in. And then we do start to rebound a little bit by late next week. It actually looks like next Thursday should be a pretty nice day as well. I have Tage with me. He's been wanting to join my forecast for a while. You've been sideline reporting for these past 9 weeks, right?
I've been doing the sidelines for Tia now the whole season, and I've been trying to get in Natalie's forecast the whole season, and she finally invited me in.
I'm glad you did, and we're going to go over to Fox, right?
We are going to go over to Fox 45. Join Adam and Megan and the whole team after this commercial break.